There's going to be 10 what's called Eden arches, which are smaller dwellings made from aircrete. And then domes, if you've looked up Dome Gaia, or you can look up Dome Gaia domes, they're really beautiful aircrete domes. So we'll have 10 of those, 10 Eden arches, so 20 dwellings altogether. They can hold up to 60 people. We'll have a big movement dome, a kitchen area, a dining area, a lounge area.
Hi, my name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of LightNet, and my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible. I'm here today with Carolin Hauser, who is an absolute visionary for our best future. She went from being a constellation healer and nutrition expert and energy expert into her new life's calling, which has been for the last several years building a off-grid community called Turiya. Now, this is a vision that was born out of her interest in creating what she wanted to live through, what she wanted her childhood to look like, what she wanted her elder years to look like. And this is an option for all the people who are feeling called to really step into creating what we always have wanted. So this is a multi-generational ecotourism village and eco village where permanent people can stay there and live there. There's a food forest, there's saunas heated by wood. This is a chance to go out, get on the land, get reconnected with each other. It's interesting because all the people that are coming into the community fit these different pieces of need that create this holistic system where everyone is enjoying and contributing at the same time. She is creating a powerful template for others that want to live in sovereignty, in freedom, and in deep connection. Check it out.
What I have discovered my purpose to be is to just be me in this lifetime and to do the things that truly make me happy. Because I really believe that we all have a shared purpose, and that is to live the most fulfilling life experience that we can have in this lifetime. And for everybody that's different, but it's also a shared purpose because the shared part of it is like to do the thing that really makes you happy, and that might change throughout your life. But yeah. Well, the way I came to this conclusion was I really struggled in life early on. My childhood was pretty good, but then from 10 till 20, I struggled with eating disorders. So I really led a double life and had basically no friends, just isolated myself and was beating this disease or addiction. And I remember when I was 15, I felt like I was 70 and I was ready to die. And part of me and another part of me really just wanted to live and find my soulmate and have kids and just have a normal life. And for me, when you have an addiction or an eating disorder or any kind of addiction, actually, for over 10 years, statistically, your prognosis of ever recovering or getting better drops to like 5%. So at 20, my prognosis for living and recovering, well, for living was higher, but for recovering was at 5%. And then for living to be 30 was also at 5% because I was doing damaging stuff to my body. So where others were just having a normal life, finishing high school, going to university, I didn't even know if I could have, just a marriage and kids and just normal, and I think because I struggled so much with just having normal and then finding a way to healing, then everything else became easier. I definitely love to inspire, and I love to serve God in a sense, source. I'm not necessarily religious or just Christian, but I definitely have this sense of I'm here to make the world a better place. I'm specifically passionate about children and making it a better place for children. I remember being really like little, 7, 8 years old, and thinking that if I could just become a doctor and help little kids live better, or a philanthropist and create this place where kids could grow up really healthy. And I went to Waldorf education, so I was really lucky. So I'm very passionate about creating a world where children can have access to that type of education. And then also for me, when I had my children, I'm from Germany, and my family is in Germany. I ended up in the United States. So I was very far away from my family when I had kids, and I had basically no support system unless I paid for it. And when I first had kids, we didn't have a lot of money, so it was very hard to afford any kind of good care. I made the choice of staying home and just making no money, basically, and going into debt so that I could be with my kids and do attachment parenting. So I'm just very passionate about helping younger families be able to take care of their kids better, work less, have a start into life, so that the kids can grow up in a either healthy family unit or more of a tribal setting where it's not all on the parents. Because I don't know how people do it nowadays, like young parents with trying to pay for a mortgage and trying to work and commuting, and just the way society is set up. When I had my kids, I very much felt like it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this way. It's really a flaw in the system, because we should just be able to be there for the kids and take care of them and not have to deal with so much else. And kids should be able to just be outside and play in nature and have a healthy start into life, and not live in cities and be on trains and be in daycares and that type of stuff. Well, I'm very fortunate because I am building a 160-acre development, which is part of it is an Ecovillage, and the other part is a retreat center. And the idea is that the retreat center is going to be financially successful, so it can finance the school and some of the affordable housing units for the Ecovillage, and it all becomes a place where the older generations that have maybe made some money can contribute financially. The middle generation can contribute to their labor force, and the younger ones, or the ones that have family, can be supported to all of us, and just create a model for a more healthier lifestyle for all of us, for all our nervous systems, for our need for community, for the way that we feed ourselves, for being interdependent from the government system, and just overall way more appropriate for our species, let's put it that way. It's called Turiya, and Turiya actually is a Sanskrit name, or a Sanskrit term for the fourth state of being, a state beyond the physical, a state of oneness. So it is already a physical place, but it's very peaceful because it is away. It is 40 minutes away from a small town called Ashfork in Arizona, in northern Arizona. So in its physical state, it is very peaceful already. And our vision is for it to be a space where people can come and find harmony with themselves, with each other, and with nature. So we see ourselves as stewards of the land, and we have started developing, planting fruit trees, bringing water, building aircrete domes, attracting community, starting to have people come out on the land, because none of us included, we're not used to living off grid and getting our hands dirty and working physically all day long, every day, just to get water or just to make food, that type of stuff. So we're taking baby steps. And that being said, it's only been 9 months, and we've done a lot in 9 months. So when it's fully developed, Turiya really has two parts. So it's a square. When you look at it on the map, it's a square. One half is the retreat center, one half is the Ecovillage. The Ecovillage has about 20 lots. People can have 5 acres to a half an acre. There could be people with tiny homes. There can be people with a whole equine farm or homestead, depending on what people want to do. It's really a village where, yes, we have some rules, but once you purchase your lot, you can pretty much do with it what you want, as long as it's along the lines of being eco-friendly and peaceful, pretty much. And then for the retreat center, there's going to be 10 what's called Eden arches, which are smaller dwellings made from aircrete, and then domes. If you've looked up Dome Gaia, or you can look up Dome Gaia domes, they're really beautiful aircrete domes. So we'll have 10 of those, 10 Eden arches, so 20 dwellings altogether. They can hold up to 60 people. We'll have a big movement dome, a kitchen area, a dining area, a lounge area. I envision it fairly like open, so it's indoor outdoor because our climate is fairly mild. We'll definitely have a greenhouse that has tropical plants and a cafe in it and a smoothie bar. We're going to have different natural pools and ponds, cold plunges, sauna, wood-fired saunas with glass doors where you can overlook the whole. We have an unobstructed view over the entire valley because our south side is all state land and our east side is all state land, and the whole property is on a slope. So we have humongous big views, and when you're in the sauna, you can sit in the sauna and have these views. We have like a terrace in the middle where the greenhouse and the sauna and the pool and the hot tubs, wood-fired hot tubs will be. And so the idea is that the people that are in the village can be in the village and do their own thing. They can work at the retreat if they want to. The retreat people can be by themselves. And then in the middle, if people want to meet, there's like this type of marketplace with the greenhouse, terraces, and so people can socialize and do stuff. And then we have our own 2 hills. One of the hills has beautiful footing where we envision having a big outdoor stage for yoga festivals, music festivals. We'll have meditation paths. We'll have a running path, hopefully all the way around the property. We'll have food forest, Valapi greenhouses to grow year-round, root cellars. We ourselves are planning on building an earthship. We do want to be a center for where people can come and learn alternative building, but then also for people to come and really do healing retreats. My specialty is also in like detox and eating mucus-free, and because of my history, I had to do a lot of healing on my physical body, and I did it mostly through food and energy work, family constellations. And then we hope that either people that live in the village and are practitioners of some sort will bring their own following in their own groups, or people that have followings that are yoga teachers, breathwork instructors, shadow work people, whatever. They come and use the facilities, and we just provide the space and the food and all of that. So it's exciting. Well, the hardest thing in living my purpose is that people around me sometimes don't understand, especially like my family. When I was younger, to them it would look like I had no clue what I was doing because I literally wasn't making any money and didn't really follow my career until I was 36. So that was 10 years ago about. I'm 47 now. So they were just like pulling their hair out thinking like, when are you going to ever, when are you going to think about retirement? When are you going to start putting money away? When are you? Because you can't just hop from one thing to another, and you can't just wait tables all your life or babysit for $5 or, whatever, be a mom. And I always had a really strong feeling inside of myself that I was on my path, but to translate that to the people that love you and are close to you is a little harder. Now they're all proud of me, of course, but that was hard. It was hard for them, and I think their worry created stress for me. Let's put it that way. And then it can be somewhat lonely because, so my path, I've never had an employer basically other than Source. It can be nerve-wracking because of money. It can be lonely because I don't have topics, the topics that normal people talk about are not necessarily my topics or my worries or struggles. So, yeah. Well, I believe that part of the reason why it's so hard for people to find their purpose is because people in power know that somebody who's connected to their own power, to their own direct source is very powerful. And it seems to be that there's a group of people that really would like to have all the power to themselves. So they've put things in place, starting from the way the birthing system is, the way the food system is, having male babies circumcised, like having this whole system set up in a way where it's all about separating ourselves from ourselves, our body, it usually starts with birth, where children are separated at birth. Not so much anymore now, but the last 50 years, mostly kids were separated right at birth. They were born in a hospital. It was all very sterile. And then the food that we've been given is just not serving us. So it's in my opinion, it's all created this denseness or toxicity in a sense, where when your body is not well taken care of, when you're emotionally disturbed because you're not securely bonded from the beginning, it's very hard to feel safe and secure enough to relax enough to hear God or your calling and move forward with it. And I was very lucky, even though I had some trauma and, you know, my parents passed on some trauma and so forth. I grew up in nature. I grew up with really good food. I grew up with Waldorf. I grew up without television. So I have very little, like, the advertising does just not work on me. Whereas, you know, with a lot of people growing up in the States or even everywhere in Europe, you're just so programmed by what you're watching, right? So I feel like I had an advantage by not, but through the environment that I grew up in. Because in Waldorf, you know, there's no electronic anything and no computers, not even radio. I mean, we grew up with some radio, but my parents were really good about we didn't like it. You know, we were complaining, but we came home from school and we're like shoot out the door, and you know, they didn't want to see us until like dinner time. And we just had to figure out what to do outside and play. Yeah, so if you're somebody that hasn't figured out your purpose, I think really one of the first steps is focusing on healing your nervous system. And there's many different ways to do it. If you're in a couple, one of the best ways I know of is a practice called bliss bonding. If you're single, there's other ways. Family constellations is an amazing tool to help heal trauma. But I think unless we can heal our nervous system and feel securely attached within ourselves, we can't relax enough, like what I was saying before, to trust our inner guidance and take steps forward. I think part of the reason why I could was because I felt this sense of attachment to something higher, that even though it's not visible and even though sometimes it's not quite there, I still felt like I wasn't alone. I mean, sometimes I do feel alone, but for the most part, I felt safe and secure in the knowing that. And I actually do have a memory of before I came here, I was in heaven. So the story, I was up in heaven, and it was kind of like a Waldorf kindergarten. And we were all sitting on little wooden chairs, and God came down and asked or said, there's problems on earth. People don't get along. Who wants to go down there and help? And my hand just raised itself automatically. And then I was down on earth, and then I had to go through a lot of problems to figure out how to help people and myself, especially around relationship stuff. So I do think healing those early attachment things, and which is very, very much closely connected to learning how to regulate and healing our nervous system so that we can feel safe and secure is one of the main things. Yeah, so after you feel secure, the next step is to learn how to listen. And people hear and feel differently because we have different psychic abilities. There's clairsentience, there's clairaudience, there's claircognizance. So some people just know, some people feel, some people hear, some people see. I am not a clairvoyant, I don't see. I'm not a clairaudient, I don't actually hear. I'm clairsentient and claircognizant, which is hard because it's just a sense or a feeling. So I oftentimes work with signs. So I would ask a question and open a book. I would use cards. I would just say, hey, give me a sign, like your blue butterfly or something, so you have to first figure out like what your way of receiving messages is. Some people get visuals, some people literally hear words. Journaling is really good. Writing it out. To this day, I write in my book. I say, what am I supposed to be doing today? And I write it down, and I have it in front of me, and I check it off every day. Because even if I do it in the morning and don't go back to my book, I'll forget, because we just get so distracted, right? So writing things down and having them with me to remind myself on a very practical level, that's been my business strategy and how I build everything, basically. The effect that I've had on other people is somewhat mysterious and somewhat not, because some people will come to me. So a lot of people, when I was struggling in my life, people would come to me and say, oh my God, you're just doing your own thing, and it's so inspirational. You giving me the idea or the permission that it's possible. And then I've had many clients where literally by doing the work, their lives are very different a year, 2, 3 years later. And then there's probably many people that I don't even know that I've impacted them because I'm not in touch with them. And where I'm curious, I would love to know. Yeah, so I should say that one of the first things I came across when I started to spiritually awaken was the Merriam-Webster's quote that said, you know, our biggest fear is not to be small, our biggest fear is to be great beyond measure type thing. And I wrote that thing down and hung it over my bed. Like I made a big, huge painting and it's been with me for the last 20 years, hanging either over my bed or in my office or somewhere. So I really believe that when it's counterintuitive because it feels selfish to just do your thing. But when you do, you allow others to also do their thing. And my thing is to do for others. You know, it's selfish in a way, but I'm very driven by doing it for others. So mostly everything I do is to make the world a better place. Kind of like Mother Teresa, right? There's this argument, like, is Mother Teresa like the biggest egotist because she's just totally selfishly doing what she wants, but then it has such a great impact? I feel a bit the same way. So the thing that I do when I hit roadblocks is I take my own medicine. I either do family constellations or I talk to my mentors. I have really good mentors. They know me very well. They know the subconscious really well. They are masters at what they do. So I've looked for, or I've been blessed to find the people that are the best in their field, and I've stuck with them. And so I have created a support system that I can trust, that knows me really well, that know my brain, that know how I function, which I realized I needed. For me, I need somebody who knows me really well. That's when I feel most important, so that when I break down, I have a meltdown, I can go to those people and they can like talk some sense into me, because I'm a very emotional Cancer crap. So sometimes I need to just have somebody who can be very logical and put things into perspective and help me shift back into grounded emotional place. And then self-care, you know, doing like I know that when I take time to just do nothing, whether it's just watching a show, going like unrestricted time, spaciousness, taking stuff off my schedule and just letting myself be, I call it slothing. That usually really helps me shift my energy back into a more positive state. Well, the one thing that I always end my interviews with is that if I could just teach one thing, it's make your own energy management your top priority, because we don't have power over other people. We don't have power over outer circumstances necessarily, but we do have power over our own vibrational state of being. And we're composed of 4 layers, if you will, like the physical, the energetic, the emotional, and the spiritual. And so you need to figure out what you need to do on those 4 levels to get yourself into most optimum space. Think like an athlete, like an Olympic athlete, or, you know, high performance person. Like, how do you feed yourself? What do you do for your emotional care? What do you do for your energetic care? What do you do for your spiritual care? And then make that a priority. Like, in all honesty, I had pretty much nothing, right, 10 years ago. I mean, I had myself and my kids, but financially speaking. And I used those principles of just really learning what I need to do to manage my energy. And that's been the main key to success, if you will, to be able to manifest or create or attract things, is having that one skill. I think it would be a very peaceful, fun place to be. And I don't think we're that far away actually from it. I do think that people are more and more waking up and they're realizing they don't have to do the thing they think they have to do to survive. You don't need that much money to actually have a good life. There's all kinds of creative ways to, you know, you don't have to have a 401k. You don't have to have a mortgage and those type of things. Like, yes, if you want to, you can, but there's other ways to provide to yourself things that you need for your basic need. I also believe that there is enough money so that everybody can have their basic needs met, and that if everybody did the thing that they needed to do, we could just exchange with each other, and it would just work. It would be a puzzle that just fits perfectly together, where you do the thing that I don't do, and, you know, the other person's. It's just, we're not going to all do the same thing, I don't think. We're all unique enough so that, I trust Source that there's enough of each what's needed so that it's just a perfect orchestra, basically, or symphony.